Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I have just finished watching Season 2, Episode 1 of The Mandalorian. It is like 5 in the morning, so excuse me if I'm kind of rambling on and I flub my words a little bit. But in any case, this is a spoiler review. Spoilers. I don't even know if you want to call this a review. This might just be me rambling about the awesome shit we just saw. But this is full spoilers. I am assuming, if you're watching this, that you've already seen the episode. So... okay, alright, you got your warning. Alright, yeah, I did not expect to get nearly as much as we did when this started. I thought they were gonna kind of very slowly hint at things and kind of lead up to things. I didn't expect us to get any of our rumored characters at all this first episode. I thought this was all gonna be like second half of the season stuff, but no. Episode 1, we get Cobb Vanth in the Boba Fett armor, right? So that alone, it's like, okay, cool, that's nice that happened. And we even have, like, you know, the Aftermath trilogy, which, by the way, I have not finished reading the Aftermath trilogy, so I don't actually know that much about Cobb Vanth and his whole role in those books. But it was cool to see that and the Boba Fett armor, and overall, it was just a really awesome episode. You know, you had this. It's interesting in that it was, you know, you could almost say it was like a side episode in that it didn't further the main plots as far as, like, you know, what's up with Baby Yoda, where's Moff Gideon, what's the whole thing they want with him, and all that stuff. But it gave us so much stuff. Okay, let's just go into it. So basically, Mando is looking for other Mandalorians. His theory is that if he finds other Mandalorians, they'll be able to lead him to other clans of Mandalorians, and eventually he'll find Jedi, I guess. Or maybe he's just trying to gather information. But basically, he shows up at this bar and he asks this dude, hey, do you know of any Mandalorians? I heard you know somebody. And at first the guy tries to just steal his armor, right? But eventually he gives him his information after he does like a Batman thing where he hangs him upside down. He tells him about this Mandalorian he knows on Tatooine. So we're going back to Tatooine, right? And that's another thing that, like, you know, I was kind of I was there with like a lot of people who were like, okay, we're going back to Tatooine again. You know, this is like the third time in the course of a full year. It's like, all right, we're in Tatooine again. But this episode, I feel like, deserved it. And it was such a different side of Tatooine than what we saw in episode 5 of the first season. Whereas that episode was very small and very, like, what would you say? It's like, it's very closed in, you know, like it's very, it was like one town. Here's like a couple of hills of sand over here, a couple of dunes. And then we're going back to that one little place, and it was very enclosed. But this felt massive. This felt like a really massive side of Tatooine, and even, you know, especially it was a town that we haven't already seen before, so that was great. So I feel like it really deserved going back to Tatooine. It didn't feel like this forced thing that we're like, okay, we're going back to another planet. We know it's Tatooine. Okay. So that was good. It was like refreshing. But yeah, right away he goes there looking for the Mandalorian. Of course, you know, he stops at the same exact place with that lady, I forget her name. You know, and he kind of asks her what she knows, and then we get an R5 appearance, which is great. I think R5 was in the background of season 1, I believe. But it was pretty great that, like, he's just there, and he even has like the mark where his motivator blew out, you know. So that's great. It's just R5 is doing good. He's safe. He's still around. Good for R5. And then basically she tells him how, like, oh yeah, there's this town. It got attacked by a bunch of raiders and pirates. So he goes there because that's where the Mandalorian is supposed to be, and of course it turns out to be the sheriff, Cobb Vanth. And I did not expect to get any cameos this early, you know, like, or not cameos, but you know what I mean, like any of our rumored characters of, like, here's a major appearance, that will then, of course, we'll talk about what that infers in a second. You know, I figured this was all gonna be like, episode like 4 and 5 type stuff. They're gonna like build up to these major character appearances that then become even bigger as the season's about to end. But no, episode 1, we get Cobb Vanth. We get the Boba Fett armor. He takes the helmet off. It's Boba Fett's armor, all of it. Like, it's not for a second I thought, oh, maybe it's gonna turn out to not have been Boba Fett's armor, because I think it's only ever been implied that it was. But no, it is Boba Fett's armor. And basically he's like, all right, I want the Mandalorian armor, and they strike this deal to basically take out this crate dragon, which is massive and awesome, and it looks really good. The CG looks good. Not perfect. It's not like, I think if this had a movie budget, it would be like even better looking, but it looks pretty damn good, the crate dragon. And I'm sure that the crate dragon design has shown up in other things like books and comics in the past, I'm sure, but this is the first time I remember ever seeing a crate dragon. I when I think of a crate dragon, I only remember the skeleton, so I think this is the first time I ever remember seeing one. And actually what I kind of want to go do is go look at a picture of the crate dragon and compare the monster I just saw to the skeleton in A New Hope, because now I'm kind of wondering, like, did they actually look the same? So I don't know, but either way, it was really cool. It was definitely it reminded me of Tremors, basically. Like, that's the situation we had. We had a Tremors situation happening. So they strike the deal to go defeat the crate dragon in exchange for the Mandalorian armor. They have to enlist the help of the Tusken Raiders. They have to do this thing where, like, the town has to agree to work with this group of people who, like, one side views the other side as like raiders and just monsters, and then of course the Tusken Raiders view these villagers as like, you people settled a town, you started taking our resources that we've been here for thousands of years using, that kind of thing, so it's very real world situation stuff happening there. But in any case, yeah, it was just a really cool episode. The way they try and take them down, they use the bombs and they bury them, and then that doesn't work, and so he has to get eaten with a bantha that has all these bombs strapped to it by the crate dragon, and then of course it explodes from the inside, and that's how they ultimately take him down. Overall, it was just a great episode. It was cool seeing the Boba Fett armor, but it wasn't on Boba Fett. We'll talk about that in a second. And then when the crate dragon died, there was like this weird egg thing that the Tusken Raiders picked up, and then they focused on it for a second, and then they just moved on to the next scene. So I don't know if that's like a thing that's like, oh, there's going to be more crate dragons later because they have an egg, or if that was maybe supposed to be like a callback to the Suka the Jawas and their egg. I don't know if that was like a callback to that. In any case, it was pretty awesome. Just seeing them flying around in their jetpacks, trying to get around this giant monster, and it's like shooting acid and all kinds. It was really great. And it ends, of course, with the Mandalorian getting the Boba Fett armor back. And I guess he's just gonna go off, and he's essentially gonna be in the same place, and that's why it is sort of a side episode, in that he's still in the same place he was, basically where he started the episode. He's looking for Mandalorians to further the plot along, but of course, right before the episode ends, we see a mysterious figure watching all this from the hilltop, and it turns around, and it is Tamora Morrison. It's Boba Fett. He's got like a big scar on his forehead. I actually need to pause and like look and see if there was anything else I might have missed. But in any case, there you go. Not only did I not think we were gonna see Cobb Vanth in the Boba Fett armor, I didn't think they were gonna show us Boba Fett. I thought that this was gonna be like the lead-in to 2 or 3 episodes from now, finally revealing Boba Fett. But no, they're like, here he is, Boba Fett. So that was cool. Now here's my main question about that, though, is like, okay, Boba Fett's just been chilling on Tatooine this whole time, I guess, as some sort of, he just looks like a what do you call him? Like a guy who just wanders around the desert. There's a name for that. I don't know. But in any case, it's curious that he had never tried to take back his armor, Because surely, if he's been on Tatooine as long as he looks like he has, he's known that the sheriff over there in this town has been wearing it. So I don't know what he wants or what he's gonna go do. And I'm wondering, because here's the way the next episode could play out. This episode ends with Mandalorian with the armor. Very much looks like he's gonna get on his ship and leave, but they don't actually show that. The last shot is still with him on Tatooine. It's possible that next episode starts and Boba Fett attacks him before he leaves Tatooine. It's possible. Or next episode is something completely unrelated and they come back to the Boba Fett thing later. I highly doubt that's the last we'll see of Boba Fett. There's no way they would just like leave us with that little crumb and then not come back to it later on in the season. But we'll see what happens. Either way, that was great. This was also a very expensive looking episode. That's the other thing I'm kind of curious about, because they had like 9 banthas on the screen at the same time, and a ton of people and the big crate dragon effect, and it just looked like a really expensive episode. So I'm very curious about that. But overall, it was just great. Cobb Vanth was great. Seeing Boba Fett for like that split second was just enough. And again, I didn't think we were going to see any of this. I thought this was going to be like a pretty standard, like, all right, we're going to set up the season, set up the plot. But no, they just kind of kicked right into it. So that was great. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of breakdown videos, a bunch of stuff that I missed here. But overall, I'm excited to see where this goes. Now, him still looking for Mandalorians, I can only imagine that's going to point pretty immediately to Sabine Wren. Like, if the next episode starts and he's still like, all right, I need to look for Mandalorians, I'm going to ask around, he's going to run into Sabine Wren at some point. The other thing, before I sign off here, we saw a good amount of stuff, really at the very beginning of this episode, we saw a good amount of stuff that we've seen in the trailer. Like the boxing ring match and those guys drawing their guns. Like that was one of the major scenes they showed in the trailer. We still, of course, have him going back to Navarro, where he reunites with Cara Dune and Greef Karga. And then we have the Ice Planet. I think those are the other two like major pieces from the trailers that I guess will be in episode 2 or 3. I'm assuming that most of those clips were in those first couple episodes, and so far that seems to be right. But again, it's crazy that we had all these leaks and rumors. We had people constantly trying to piece things together, but I did not see this first episode coming. I really, really assumed this was all going to happen later. So yeah. Now, I know there's going to be people out there saying, like, I really wish I didn't know Cobb Vanth was going to show up, and I didn't know that Boba Fett was probably going to be here. And I get that, but at the same time, that's just the reality of the internet, I think. Like, when you got a franchise this big and that gets people this excited, people are going to talk about it. So, I know that there's going to be a crowd out there saying, like, man, I really wish that I didn't already know that this was going to happen, but I don't know. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be on the internet, there is a cost to that, I think. An unavoidable cost to being on the internet and interacting with other people who want to talk about things. Anyways, kind of getting off topic. But, this was a fantastic first episode. I hope they keep this consistency. I hope they keep this time. This was like 53 minutes. I really hope they keep similar times, at least 40 minutes. Don't go below 40 minutes, please. It would be so weird if the next episode's only like 23 minutes long. That would be very strange. But yeah, this was like almost a movie, and that was great. So yeah, that was Mandalorian season 2 episode 1. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys caught. Oh, that's right. I just remember something. Cobb Vanth, his speeder. People are saying that it's Anakin Skywalker's pod racing engine that he's using as a speeder. that might be the case. It definitely looked like a pod racing engine. I don't know if it was Anakin's specifically, but it definitely looked like a pod racing engine. So anyways, yeah, let me know if you guys caught things that I missed. I'm sure there's going to be a million breakdowns. This was great. This was just fantastic. All right, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.